What's up? Today is a oddball Saturday. We're going to do odd jobs here. Work on some fairly large braid, so I'll get done. Just to give y'all an idea of what I'm working on and what kind of reference it is, that's a 4/0 ring terminal, so it's a fairly wide braid. I worked on some braid yesterday. I can go back and look at that video and see how small it is in comparison to this. It doesn't mean the other braid's not sufficient, it just means this is for a much larger application. But not much to what I'm doing. Well, actually, I guess there's a lot to what I'm doing, but you won't be seeing a whole lot. I mean, you can kind of see what I'm doing right here a little bit, but always follow along and see if y'all can see what happens. This is going to require quite a bit of heat, so it'll just be a bit of smoke for a bit. Keeps refocusing. I don't really know why. Probably because I'm looking up. So I'll just keep on working. For those of the guys that didn't see a while ago, this is kind of an idea of what I'm working on. That's a 4/0 ring terminal, so fairly large braid. If y'all seen what I worked on before, like I said just a few minutes ago, or less than a minute ago, it's definitely much larger. The end concept that's going to be done on this, y'all may or may not see that come to completion. Something like this. Split feed for 1 5/8. I may not get that far on this video because this is not a short process. But it's the next size up from 7/8 I just worked on yesterday. You got any, I suppose if y'all got any questions, feel free to ask. It's not really, this is prep work. I have to make sure this is exactly how I want it to be before I start with the continuation of this project. So that's what I'm doing right here. This is to ensure that this is at the exact spacing, position, configuration and width that I need it to be. So that's why I'm doing this. I've got I suppose a good model for what I built previously. I'm redoing it slightly just because I needed to change something as far as the build. Not much change, but y'all saw the design. I suppose I'll let y'all see it again so y'all are not just watching me just sit here with a soldering iron. Y'all can kind of inspect that to some degree. Here I'll go. Something to look, well, I think that's on. Just out of y'all's view. I'm not moving this camera because it's a pain in the butt. There's y'all something to look at. I can kind of see what was done and how it was done by looking at that. There's 3 tag points where it's tied and soldered, and it's soldered on the inside and clamped in place. In case y'all didn't know, I say it quite a bit, and I will continue to say it over and over again. Solder is an excellent electrical connection, but a poor mechanical connection. Crimp is an excellent mechanical connection, but a poor electrical connection. A combination of both is what you can go for if you have the proper equipment to do so. Priced some Greenlee battery-powered crimps, and they're about $1,800. If you don't mind going the hydraulic route, you can get one of those for about $200 or so. I do mind the hydraulic, and I'm just not going to sit there and work with a hydraulic. I would just go ahead and purchase the battery powered one. Just to give you all an idea, that's just what you can expect for the proper set of crimpers that I would personally use, around $3 grand. So, just to give you all an idea. But what I'm doing right here is soldering pretty much the base to give me the spacing that I need for what I'm doing. Moved that 1 5/8, so I guess I should move out this box so y'all can see what I'm doing here. So now that I got that, hopefully it won't fall out. We'll see in just a moment. If we lose it, it's close. Let's see. Let it go. Maybe. Alright. So this is to allow the braid to retain its shape. If you don't watch what you're doing with braid, what will happen is the braid will walk on you, or will pull on you on one side or the other, and distort the rest of the entire braid, and also the rest of the braid. If you kind of push it at a tight angle without having something to hold it, it opens up really wide. So it would kind of make it really difficult to work on. So something to keep in mind while you're working with braid. A quick and easy step for me is to just make sure I bond the end and all the braid is tied into one piece. So if you look on the soldered end, the braid doesn't really move around or do anything, so on the soldered end. But on the open end, when you move it and wiggle it, it gets wider. So something you got to watch out for and be aware of when you're working on this stuff. Not super interesting what I'm doing because it takes quite a bit of time to do. So don't be doing this expecting to go to dinner in the evening or something, especially if it's your first time. So. You may end up having to redo your entire work if you don't do it properly. So don't be just be patient and continue to work. And of course, get a table that can handle the heat. So this is just a plastic table, so I have some G3OP fiberglass supporting my work. But this is not your everyday braid that I'm working with right now. And the cool thing about having GPO3 fiberglass is I can actually add some heat, a bit more than what's currently available. So what I do, I don't want to lose my progress, so if I drop something in the way of y'all's view, then I'm sorry, but I will not stop because I got more work to do. My goal here is to take the outer part of the shield and the inner part of the shield. Actually, this works out fine for me. And bond the two together. I'll have to watch out for pieces like this because if I don't watch the temperature. Then what will happen is my shield will get some sort of solder slag on the end of it, and I got to be careful with that. this whole thing's going to be hot, but just so you get a concept, that's what I'm doing. Now I'm using some GPO3 fiberglass. I don't have to worry about that. So that's the cool thing about my table. It's good for high heat, and high voltage too. Something else that's good for high heat is this dadgum braid. It's extremely good at wicking heat, so I have to add more heat than what my pencil allows. I mean, you can get a you have to watch what you're doing here, because you can easily overheat the wire and then ruin its ability to wick. So I'm doing this because I don't have my bigger pencil here. I've got a couple big pencils, and I don't. They're not at this location. Again, I have to kind of work with what's available at each one of my benches. This is my temporary bench number 4. So I have 3 other benches to kind of split my tools between, and I don't always know what I'm going to be doing at each job site whenever I'm doing this. So it's just kind of a, it's what it is. I have to work with the supplies that I have to some degree. All right. I'm being a little extra picky right now, just because I was asked to be. Alright, so cool. What's up, Rocky? Waving a hand. That covers what I'm doing. See, what I've done is basically just bonded this in, and that gives me the ability to do what I need to do. See if it's just a focus, maybe. I don't know if it's focus or what. But I'm going to go ahead and drop y'all down so y'all can see a little bit better. Oh, look at that little bin of bolts, heavy. Poor fishing tackle. Any of you fishermen, I feel sorry for you guys. I use my material for outside of its intended purpose, but hey, it works. I didn't have enough room for all my bolts. Alright, so from here covers that, so now I need to the concept that's going to happen next is going to be here, so you'll have an idea. You can see what's going on. Gotta watch this. I'll tell you what that is in a little bit. Any of you guys who know what I'm doing specifically will understand what that sound is. Alright, it's kind of the concept, so you understand. So I'm going to go keep this volume because I don't want to hear it. So what I'm going to do from here is I'm going to knock the shield back to where I'm happy. I have to so whenever I put it here. It's going over top, so I need to start over here. So, beginning tag point on this is going to be over here, and this is going to wrap over and around. Hang on a second. What's up, man? I'm texting you what I'm working on some coax. Go ahead and prep that HDR 300A. The box right below you. On the ramp. Let's go ahead and pull it apart and we'll go ahead and start putting it together, putting it on the tower. Alright, cool. Back to work. So this is the concept. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to keep this tied right here, and I'm looking at my next point that I'm going to be connecting, and that's going to be right over here. So this base is going to be my tag point. So now that I see that, I'm going to watch my head. It's a little springy. Alright, so can't lose my position. There we go, cool. So all it is just add a little piece of solder just to kind of tell me where I want it. There we go. Alright, so I'm dropping the heat on this. You can see it's not much of a flame. I can almost blow it out. So don't get copying me and be like, oh, I burnt my shield and it's not soldering right. What's going wrong? Well, that was your fault, not mine. Alrighty. What I'm doing is basically getting some heat to this connection because I want both sides to bond. Nobody else is asking me questions, so I'll just get back to work. And if this fiberglass burns, don't think it's a big deal because I'm doing this on purpose. The fiberglass is literally just to protect this table. There's absolutely no other purpose for it right here. It's too small for any other application, so I decided to make a table out of it. Kind of a waste for how cool this stuff actually is, in case you guys don't know. not really saying much because just making another line of solder, that takes a while. So if y'all are kind of following along with what's happening, if y'all watched what I lined that up with, you can kind of understand what I'm doing. There's no way you can create a complete solder bond around the entire connector of something without literally destroying the wire. So you have to kind of make the best decision you can with that. So kind of got to work with it. There you go. So it's gonna be warm, so I'm gonna watch it. So I made a little bead on this corner right here to show me where I'm actually gonna be at next. So that'll give me what I need. From here, I have to watch how hot that gets. It's not too hot to burn me, but I will definitely move my hand if it's warm, because you won't know how far the heat has wicked up the wire. I mean, it's hot over here when I've added heat over here. So, of course, gotta keep that in mind. Not hot enough to do anything to me, but definitely hot enough to get you to pull your hand away real fast. It might burn you guys, so be careful. I've got a bit of a higher heat tolerance than most people. Alright, so back to our heat. Oh yeah, there's a bunch. I'll show you, man. This is if you're gonna go the expensive route and go ahead and build an EIA. There it is. If you just go ahead and build the coax as big as you can possibly build it, and you go from there and you don't want to do anything else, then what you'll do is this. This is a EIA to a Bird QC to actually attach whatever you want, whether it's a SO239 female, you can just get a straight PL259 male, you can get a 7/16 extend, you can get whatever you want. You can even do LC right there. But that's a quick and simple route to go all the way right here and then just immediately reduce it down. Or you could always just buy the connectors that you want. Like they make 1 5/8 that's got other connections. Like you can use you can buy a 7/16 DIM for 1 5/8. So if you don't ever plan on operating anything bigger than what you are currently in whatever application you're in, then the best choice in that situation is to go ahead and get the size wire that you need, or the size connector that you need, and just go ahead and make sure your wire is overkill. But if you think you would ever plan on operating anything larger, then you would do something like that. That way you can change from one way to the other. You can say, oh, I'm going to go ahead and upgrade this next year. So I'm just going to go ahead and buy every connection I need to go ahead and upgrade, but I'll just run my smaller connections for now. Or, hey, my box went out and I need to temporarily operate at a, I got this big wire, what the heck am I going to do? So that's an easy adapter to be able to do that. So there you go, Matt. Like I said, this is more of a drawn out process. You'll see what that I'm doing something that takes quite some time. If you're not building anything that's large, then it would definitely be much faster to do. But I've got to do it, so might as well share it. Kind of what I say on most of my videos. It's not that I have to share it. I'll be doing it anyway. I just choose to share it. It'd be nice. Some people have never seen connections this size. Sweet. There we go. This connection is going to be too hot for me to work with right away after I finish these two tag points. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and start on the next part of the project, which is cutting back the shield. If I was more patient, then I wouldn't waste solder. But I also use solder for more than just bonding. You can also use solder to wick heat to another location. So don't be surprised when you see solder dripping off my stuff. I do it for a reason. I don't do it because I want to waste solder. I do it because I need more heat to go where I need it, where I want it to go. Alright. Ain't no problem. I'm glad y'all enjoy it. That's why I do them. Alright, so this is just gonna show y'all from over here. Keep my hand away. We got a strip of solder and a bead on the inside, and we got a bead on the outside. So that's what we're doing. Absolutely, yeah. Feel free to ask when you want to do something. I mean, it takes a lot. I mean, some people actually never understand what it takes to build something large. They just kind of just assume that people just get a box and hook it up. It takes a heck of a lot to hook up something large. Like anybody who's ever said, I mean, I've heard statements about Super Bowl operators and stuff like that. Some of these guys just getting their money and just setting up stations and just using like Social Security or something like that. You cannot build. I mean, I'm sure somebody might can in the world, but you can't build a station like some of these guys run on Social Security. It's just not going to happen. You may, over the course of 20 years, you might, but it's just there's a lot more to putting these stations together than it is just grabbing a box. I don't care if they've got a box that's not quite proper, or if they got a box that's looks bad on the outside. I don't care what it is. It costs money, and it's difficult to put stuff like this together. So I give props to anybody who's on the bowl getting their name called consistently. They've worked hard and they've put a lot into it. So it's now, of course, somebody may not have something right. They may not have something set up properly, and they may not have worked out all their audio stuff, or they might not have been taught how to key their radio. So there may not be something that sounds perfectly right on their station, but that's the whole point of, I guess, building something, to improve it. You build it and you go up bigger, and you do something else and you improve it, and you try to, I mean, better and improve yourself. So you got to start somewhere. But yeah, there's pretty much the build right here. Alright, so from this point I have to get a cutting wheel, so I gotta grab that real quick if I can find where I put it. Oh, I got just, well, I didn't bring it. Sorry. Actually, he has this. I made sure of that. There we go. Now I can do what I need to do. Oh Lord. Let me go over there. Alright. Nah, I'll just wait. Alright. So what I'm doing is just getting a measure for how wide this connection is at its widest point, and I'll just go one rung over. So it gives me enough space to build something. Let me correct myself. It's not saying that guys on Social Security cannot build a big station, because you can, but you just have to be more creative with your decisions and have to build it at your own pace. But now, like I said, if you tap in your savings account, you can make something happen fast. This is gonna be fun. I gotta move over here a little bit. Y'all see in a minute after I'm done cutting. Alright, the reason I was being particular at what I was doing is I was specifically staying more towards the outside. That way I can do something. You'll kind of see what I've done here in just a second. Alright, so that's kind of the concept. I'm leaving this on here. Alright. Whenever I'm done, I'll go back through this and tidy it up in a different way. That way I'm not using this, but I'm going to do this, leave it like this until I'm finished. Alright, so from here you'll see the next step. I didn't think I was going to get this far on this video, so I didn't really update the description, so I may update it later. Let's go ahead and protect my bench before I do something stupid. Alright. I'm going to drip a lot of solder because what's going to happen is that the solder will try to fall into the troughs and not on the outer edge. And what I'm doing is running the solder to all of it. So just be prepared to use more solder than you expect. Wave it a hand, man. Alright, so pretty much got most of the outer shield tinned, so I got a little bit more on the underside to do. Alright, so now at this point, pretty much the job is to work with this braid and attach it to here. So that's the concept. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and put some heat to my braid. Whatever. Not a lot of talking to be done right here because I've got to pay attention to what's happening to the solder and see when it starts to wick and move, and make sure the underside's prepped at the same time. Y'all understand what I'm doing, feel free to watch. Y'all don't understand, feel free to watch. I will explain as I can. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. I'll try to look back and answer them as I see them. I knew it was coming close, but here y'all go. Nothing's perfect whenever you do something, so don't be expecting everything to work your way. Don't expect to not be prepared for something to happen. Like that falling down right there. If I would have had way too much solder there, I would have literally poured it all over myself. That would have sucked. So, got to be careful, and you got to be kind of expecting stuff. I've got shorts on, so what I've done is I kind of stance myself where if something falls, it doesn't hit me specifically. So that's another thing you got to watch out for. Kind of like anybody cutting trees or anything like that. Anything that's stiff, you have to watch out for stuff like that too. I had the wire literally bounce back on me just a little bit earlier and hit my hat. So I mean, just expect stuff like that. Don't be thinking you're going to come out scot-free and working on something large like this. There's always something that's going to happen. Just be prepared for it. See how that's trying to move on me? So what I have to do is move this. Throw that little piece off my quick. Before I have any resin hit me. So kind of same thing. I've got to continue this process until I get it to bond the way I want it to. What I'm going to do is go ahead and do this. See that upper bond? Well, you didn't see anything, so whatever. The upper bond that I did was just to make my job easier. So see, the wire is actually bonded, but not bonded extremely well. I would love to go ahead and get a lower bond on. Let's see if I can do that while I'm here. It's the equivalent of like in welding, a tack weld. Didn't do it yet. A long and boring process, but you just have to watch what you're doing. Anybody who's not done this before, I suppose don't get discouraged if you can't get it done the first day. I usually say the first try, but I mean the first day specifically, because it's not like this is a fast process, and you see how much time it's taken me to get something done. Nonetheless, somebody who doesn't know how to wick solder or work on a part or component or something like that. So there's just a lot that can happen when you're doing stuff like this. Better, but not perfect. So what I would like to do is get up underneath here with more heat, and that's what I'm going to do soon. But I can't do that until I finish this other tag point. So at least I've got it tacked on one end. The other end's not bonding very well. I mean, I suppose it's okay, but it would be better if I got on the underside. So that's what I'm going to do. So what I have to do from here is get around the bottom side of this and get this taken care of. So yeah. It would be a much simpler process, but yeah, you can use a similar process. 213 to split feed. I do something different. I mean, it already has a braided shield, so no, you wouldn't necessarily use this process, but you would use this concept. So, alrighty. So, I'm gonna use a cheater just because I have it. I may have a flathead somewhere. I don't have to grab a 5/16. So. I would never recommend anybody to leave this on here. I'll go ahead and tell you all up front that that's kind of a no-no. I've got a shorter one over here, so let's use it. Alright, now watch, still have to watch this has got tension on it, so make sure I'm kick back on myself with it hot. There it is. Huh. Oh, the heck that. Alright, cool. Whatever. And I don't have one over here, so I'm going to get another one. Huh. This is mine. Whatever. This is my cheat. So all I'm going to do, just to add this around the edge, and all that will do is just help pull it down. Just like a little clamp. So we'll see how well it works. I didn't have to use this method before, and I don't have to use it now. You can go ahead and start mounting it.
What I got to take it to the bottom?
The bottom.
Alright, I think we're going to have to take the winch loose. The winch wire.
Sorry, guys. Alright. Took a little bit longer than I thought. Alright, so this is what I'm going to be doing. It's kind of an awkward angle, so it's not much y'all can see. But yeah, maybe.
What was that power again?
HDX 572.
HG?
HD
X 572?
5-572. And don't worry about no extra letters. If it says extra letters, it's fine. If it doesn't say extra letters, it's still fine. Because the extra letters just means whether it's got a motorized assembly or not. And say mount rotor to HDX 572. Clean my pinch off. Alright, so it's not much of a process to this. You'll see what I'm doing next. This will be a fairly long video, so it is what it is. Well, yeah, that is it. You'll have to kind of see from afar. You got to work with this coax as it moves. Alright, so that kind of covers that. So what I did was basically get another tack on the bottom, and I'll have to do another tack on the top for this to show up the rest of the way. And then I'll tighten this up right here. I'll make sure this down right here. It's gonna be hot, so I gotta watch what I'm touching. So let me get something else, some other material, so I don't burn myself. This is why I say I need an outdoor bench, so you guys are aware of what I'm doing. Now I do have something coming that's gonna happen soon enough that will allow me to do a little bit more indoor work. We'll see exactly how much that is over the next couple months. Y'all will not be able to see that anytime super soon. This is my Saturday work. I call it oddball Saturday or whatever the heck you want to call it. Just unique stuff. about to touch, so I gotta watch out what I'm doing. This will be fun to start because I could just grab another one. I've got this one right here. It's in my hands. And I'm gonna grab another one, just so I don't have to deal with that. I'd rather not be fiddling with something longer than I have to, especially when I got 6 more sitting right there below me that's not hot yet. So what I'm doing now, my next tag point, what I'm going to be doing. Y'all can kind of see what happens, I guess, because y'all are at the right angle to be able to see. And this is a decent angle on the bench, but not to have to worry about much. You'll see the stainless change colors. That doesn't really matter because I'm not leaving the stainless on here. So. Morning, waving a hand. I usually have a fan right near me, but I'm trying to do this for y'all. To be able to see. So I just gotta kind of hold my breath. Now, of course, you do not want to see or touch or do anything with this stainless at this point in time, but I can kind of maybe get away with this. Yes. That's what I wanted. So now that I'm in a okay. So what I did was basically just tack the top and the bottom on, and then I have to add more to this connection over here. I've got a watch temperature that I'm doing. And that's why I've got this on here. This foam is just kind of letting me know what kind of temperature I've got on this. Allows me to work without having to worry. Anybody who's ever worked with this stuff, you gotta kind of watch what you're doing. Now my original tack came loose, so that's fine. It was just a tack just to hold this other in place. And I'm pretty dang close to be able to just reattach that part. So that's not a big deal. Here and bump that off because it's hot. Alright, cool. This bench didn't really have to worry much about heat, so thing about being able to use certain materials allows you not to worry about that. So let's go here. Oh wait, there was my head. Anything you know that's hot, like specifically or completely aware it's hot like that over there, bump it away from you or do something just so you don't accidentally drop your arm on it. I did that like 2 or 3 weekends ago. I was distracted with my kids coming out and saying hello to my kids, and I touched a hot terminal. And I mean, it didn't really get me that bad, but still, it's, I don't know, I have a little mark right there. But it's kind of important to watch what you're doing as far as that's concerned. At least if you don't want to get burned. I mean, if you don't care about getting burnt, then by all means do whatever you want. solder here. Alright, redid that tack right there. The bottom tack will not attach right here, and covers most of this. From here, I've got to there we go. Alright, so here's my next piece, if I can find it. Put it up where I can't find. It is sitting right in front of me, I am sure, but I do not currently see it. So I will look around like an idiot for a few seconds and then say, aha, and just but there's that one. I hide it from myself. Did not put it up there. There it is. Aha! See? I did it. Alright, so from this point, this pretty much covers this. So now I need to see how much extra you got. So from this point on, this much extra. And then whenever I tie it on, boom. This one, so this mounts straight ahead, that mounts over. This mounts straight ahead, that mounts over. It'll be fine. It's enough to do what I need to do. So if I did a third tack, possibly keep it over. I think I measured for enough for this. I did. Alright, so you'll hear me talking to myself during this process, but I mean, it's just kind of a given. I've got to figure out what I'm planning on doing and how I plan on doing it. So y'all just have to kind of watch as that goes. So there we go. This is kind of the end concept, what's going to happen on the shield. I'm not going to do any more work on that just yet. So I'll see the next part of this process, which is going to be here. Short for what I need to do, and I did not. I want it to kind of stay in a specific position, so I'm just going to clamp it down. I've got whatever. Alright, so this is one of this to be wrapped around here. This there. I'm flaring my ends over for a reason, because I want to knock any and all edges off this if possible. I'm not really worried about a crimp per se. I'm knocking my edges down. There we go. Alright, so trying to form this around the edge of the wire. Not necessarily because I don't want it to move, because that doesn't matter. Just because I want to not have any sharp edges where I don't want them to be. So. It's not as expensive as you think, to be honest. I mean, I've got some of this wire at my house. As far as doing the, I've got probably 300 foot of inch and 5/8 in my house, and it doesn't cost nearly as much as you'd expect. Well, not sure what you'd expect, to be honest, but if you're expecting $3,000, then it don't cost that much. If you're expecting 500, I'm sorry, and maybe if you got a 50-foot run, maybe to make something happen. Without ends. That's going to irritate me. It's not like it's going to stay or stick, but that would irritate me. And this all is coming off afterward, so don't worry too much about it. If you had a little bit more, I know what I'm about to do. I'm just doing this for my own good, so it's going to save me a little bit of hassle later on whenever I go to cut this. It really won't make, no, actually no, I don't want to do that. Let me just change my mind before I get ahead of myself. What I'm just going to do is raise my temperature. much covers that, so you can kind of see. That's pretty much the concept here. That's what happens when you're doing this stuff. Of course, there's plenty of tidying up I need to do. Gotta cut this back, tidy up this mess. All this stuff's going to be covered and sealed, so it's not that critical how perfectly straight my lines are as far as that goes. But what's important is how well it's bonded. That's what I'm working on. This is, I'd say, not your average wire. There's your PL259 in comparison. I've done a few of these. I guess I haven't showed y'all any of this wire, so I figured I might as well. Alright, so I'm mostly finished, but because this customer asked me to do it to the best of my ability, I'm going to go ahead and add another tack, so that means more time spent for me doing this. Not really much difference in the way it's done or anything else from what I'm going to be doing next. I mean, that's pretty much the concept here. So I bond around the outer shield, bond on the center conductor. I've built multiple different variations of this design, but this is what I'm currently building, so I like this build the best so far. Previously I've done other stuff. I've even wrapped a whole other shield around this to get it to hold, get it to do what I needed it to do. I mean, there's 100 different ways to do something, and not every way is wrong, but there's definitely, for sure, not every way is right. So there's a lot of pre-prep that went into this to make me able to do this, so don't think you're just going to be able to make this bond this way. And like I told y'all earlier, the reason I did this on this center conductor was not so that I could keep it on there. I literally did it as a gauge to see how much heat that I've got on the connection. So don't think just because I'm melting it right now that it's scary or worrisome for me, because it's not. I was prepared for that. Alright. Okay. Now, if I can ever figure out how to get around over here, I may be able to work out a method where I'm doing something, but I don't know if I'll be able to from this angle. This is, I mean, I kind of will have to probably move away from the point of sharing this with you guys. Not really because I'm trying to hide anything, but because I just really can't get the right angles that I need to get with y'all being able to watch at the same time. So y'all got the concept, y'all got what I'm doing. You see the build, the style that's being done, and it's going to be sealed, finished, and there's a bunch more stuff's got to go along with this. But, I mean, you can see some of the crazy stuff I've done in the past is I've used a whole other corrugated shield wrapped around the outside. Not a huge fan of that method because it doesn't bond as well as I want it to. This gets the best bond that I've found so far. In case y'all are not familiar, that's actually a 4-aught terminal right there. So this is not small braid, and again, not small wire. So it's kind of the gist of it. I got more work to do, but I gotta move. So y'all got to go. I'll see y'all later. I got plenty more work that I'll be working on. If I got something else that I can share, I'll share with y'all and let y'all see what's going on. Waving a hand from Italy, but I gotta run. See you guys. I'll if I can find a better angle or something, I can share something with y'all, then I'll share it. But I've been doing this for a while, so I'll get back to work, and y'all have a good weekend. See y'all.